Today, I'm going to be running through all of the opening day Premier League fixtures. I can't wait. Obviously, it is gutting as a West Ham fan that West Ham aren't in the Premier League this year. But nonetheless, it's still the best league in the world. And I'm still going to be watching it vividly, aren't I? So, on the hope that we're returning there next year. So, I need to keep my faith in the league because West Ham will be back here next year. So, we're going to whiz through all the games, not waste any time. We're going to start off with Arsenal versus Coventry. We're going to go in order of the games being played. So Arsenal take on Coventry. Feels like Arsenal have pulled off a blinder there, getting Coventry at home first day of season. I think that should be a really good way to start their campaign. Not that you should ever write off sides that have just been promoted, especially Coventry, who obviously have just come off the back of a fantastic season. But not only that, they spent £120 million, so they have recruited very well. And we saw what happened with Sunderland when they did that last year. They went on to have a fantastic season. So Coventry, obviously going away to the Emirates, very, very harsh first day of the season for them. That will, show them what life in the Premier League might be like because Arsenal are just going strength to strength at the moment. Obviously won the Premier League last year, Champions League finalists, just beat Man City comfortably in the Community Shield. They've added Ezri Konsa, Christos Solis. I mean, they are just strengthening all the time. I mean, they've arguably got one of the best midfield partnerships in Bruno Guimaraes and Declan Rice now. So don't need to spend too long on this. I think it's going to be a bit of a typical Arsenal performance, a 2-0 win, a 2-0 win for me. So then we have another one of the new boys. Hull have got Manchester United at home on the Saturday lunchtime kickoff. I was going to say morning, but that'd be incorrect. Hull City, probably my favourites to finish rock bottom of the league. They have made a couple of signs. New keeper, Mendy's obviously come in from Rayo Vallecano. So, I mean, they have strengthened, but I still look at their squad on paper and think that's not good enough to stay up in the Premier League. And they're playing a Man United side who, okay, Carlos Baleba may be signing and he may not be quite ready for Saturday, may not register in time. But obviously they've added Andre Santos. They've added Yuri Tielemans. Bar losing Casemiro, they've kept that core of players that got them back into that Champions League position last year, and they've upgraded, in my opinion. They've upgraded. So for me personally, it's going to be another obvious pick for a win. But I don't think it'll be a whitewash. I think it'll be a 3-1 Manchester United win. I'm going to back Hull to get a goal at home on the opening day. After that, we've got Everton taking on Crystal Palace. Now, of course, Everton and Crystal Palace are two teams who I don't think have, recruited very well, if at all. I think they're two teams who are going to struggle a tiny bit this year, especially Palace with obviously Glasner going to Forest. And not only that, Palace have now got to compete with Europa League football, which is, in my opinion, it's a different ball game to the Europa Conference League. The Europa League just has much better sides in it and a lot harder fixtures where you're going to be less likely to be able to rest players if you want to progress in that competition, which I'm sure they will. Everton, on the other hand, of course, a couple of signings in there. Obviously, lost Idrissa Gana Gueye, who I think they were hoping would have re-signed. Obviously, they've had a straight swap, which was really weird. Dwight McNeil with Brennan Johnson. Still can't quite get my head around that one. It was a bit weird. But look, everything I'm saying is building up to quite an obvious stalemate. I think it's going to be a very famous opening day. David Moyes 1-1 draw. It's just he's a bit of a draw specialist, and yeah, that game just feels like it's got a draw written all over it. After that, we've done all the new boys already. It's Ipswich taking on last year's new boy Sunderland, who we mentioned already in this video, have done very well. Managed to keep their hands on Granit Xhaka, keep Chelsea away, and Chelsea went for Henderson instead, of course. So Sunderland, good squad. They had a great season last year. I don't think anyone expected it after they finished sixth in the playoffs in the Championship, managed to get to the Premier League, and then managed to get a top half finish in the Premier League over rivals Newcastle. Just unbelievable. Recruitment was spot on. Ipswich, of course, made a few signs. I do think Ipswich will be my 19th place team. If I was to predict, I think out of the bottom three, Coventry have probably got the biggest chance of staying up for me. I do think with the likes of Nottingham Forest, Leeds, Tottenham all improving, I think for the bottom three to stay up this year is going to be incredibly difficult. I really do. But look, Ipswich have got a home game, opening day of season against Sunderland. It is winnable. It's not like last time in the Premier League where they had to start off with, I think it was Liverpool and Man City as like the opening two games. So, yeah, it should be really interesting. Really difficult one to call for me. There's a bit of me tempted to go Ipswich, bit of me tempted to go Sunderland, bit of me tempted to go to draw, but I wouldn't really want to call this one. So I'm going to stick with the I'm going to stick with Sunderland because I think they're going to have another good season. I'm going to go for a very narrow 2-1 Sunderland win. After that, another interesting game. Nottingham Forest taking on Leeds United. Now, Leeds are going strength to strength at the moment. They are improving all the time. An excellent new goalkeeper in James Trafford, who they've spent big money on. They are the side that magically managed to get themselves Harry Wilson, who's just come off the back of an incredible season at Fulham. He'll be a humongous loss for them, no doubt about it. So Leeds are going strength to strength at the moment. I'm really expecting Leeds to have a good season. Do not be surprised if they're sort of pushing on to that top half of the table this year. That's just my opinion. Forest obviously will be a lot better. I know they've lost Elliot Anderson, but they've kept quite a good core of the squad. Glasner should do a great job in charge. I think he'll do really well as long as the Forest owner can actually, give him some time at the club. For me, this has got draw written all over it opening day of season. I think they're going to be two clubs that will be much improved this year. So for me, it's going to be a 2-2 draw, that one. A couple of goals in there for sure, I think. Then we have Brentford. Brentford are taking on Tottenham. Brentford obviously have made a couple of very, very good signs, I think. Of course, they've lost Henderson, but Henderson wasn't really playing regularly anyway. They signed, what's his name? Sangar, I think it is. I think he may go on to be an absolutely world-class signing. 39 million from Lons. I think he's going to prove to be a really, really good signing. Brentford under Keith Andrews just looked really good. Missed out very narrowly on Europe, so hopefully that'll give them another season just to push on and fully focus on the Premier League. They've got a bit of extra backup for Igor Thiago this year with Callum Wilson, who is more than capable, as West Ham fans will know, of coming off the bench and scoring some late goals, which Brentford love to do. They love a late show, but they are coming up against Tottenham side, who no doubt are going to be massively, massively improved. They have made some really good signings, which is unfortunate as a West Ham fan to say, but Van Heck, Senesi, obviously our boy Matthias Fernandez has signed, Sandro Tonali. Obviously, I still don't think they're going to suddenly go from, relegation contenders, up into the Champions League spots by no means, but they are going to be much improved. They are going to be top half of the table for me this year. It's too much money spent and too much quality in a squad for them not to really push on there now. So for me, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. First day of the season, 1-1 draw. As I say, if Tottenham were home, I probably would have gone Tottenham actually, which hurts me to say, but I think Brentford are a fantastic side at home, and they're no walkovers, that is for sure. So 1-1 there. If we keep going down, we have got another interesting one: Brighton versus Aston Villa. Two squads with change in abundance this year, as always. Of course, Brighton have lost Welbeck. They've lost Carlos Baleba, or look like they're going to lose Carlos Baleba. Still got a great young core of the squad, though, of course. And Aston Villa, of course, lots of change there. Of course, Youri Tielemans has gone to Manchester United. Onana will be out for a big chunk of the season. Morgan Rogers has gone to Chelsea. So they've had to... both of these teams are going to have to compete with some really big change this season. Both of these teams are going to have to compete with Europe as well. So I think both of these teams... there's a very good chance, especially Villa, who had a cracking season last year. Unai Emery is just a fantastic manager, but I think both of these teams are going to drop a couple of places this year compared to where they finished last year. It's another one though, very, very, very tough to call opening day of the season. I think Brighton started a bit slow last year. They actually picked up back end of last season. I think they may do the same this year. Just start a bit slow while they try and rebuild a squad after losing a few players late in the window, and then pick up as the season goes on. So I'm going to go Aston Villa to win very, very narrowly there as well. 2-1 win for me for Villa. So on to our last three games. We've got Manchester City taking on Bournemouth. Now, of course, I did watch the Community Shield. I was very underwhelmed by Manchester City's performance, but I don't know if that's sort of, covered up by the fact that Arsenal just look really good. They just look unbelievably good at the moment, which is gutting. But Manchester City, another one like the two above we just mentioned. Some massive change in that squad. Rodri to Barcelona, Reinders has gone to Saudi Arabia, Bernardo Silva has gone to Real Madrid. They also have had to compete with a lot of change, but at the same time, they've replaced them. Elliot Anderson's coming. He'll be a great engine in that midfield, I'm sure. They've managed to keep Haaland, Doku, Semenyo. They've still got arguably one of that best front four in the world with Shirky sat in behind. So, of course, they're going to be up there. They're still probably most people's favourites to be in the top two. But as I say, I think a lot of it is dependent on how Enzo Maresca gets on. And then you've got Bournemouth again, lots of change there. Iraola obviously gone to Liverpool. And as I say, luckily they've managed to keep hold of a few really key players, which is really, really important from the season with the change of Marco Rose in charge, because I'm not quite sure how he's going to get on in the Premier League. Bournemouth managers usually come in and surprise us, but obviously keeping like Krupi Jr., Junior Krupi, obviously keeping Alex Scott. They've managed to retain a really good couple of players. They've made a couple of signings as well. But I think just opening day, especially after that Community Shield loss, Man City are just going to be just that tiny bit too strong. So I am going to go for Manchester City to win. I'm going to go 3-1. I'm expecting some goals. I'm expecting a brace from Haaland. 3-1, I think, is maybe a fair result. Last two, so we have Newcastle taking on Liverpool. I don't have a clue about Newcastle this year. Obviously, Eddie Howe's gone, new manager. Lost Bruno Guimaraes, the captain, of course. Have lost Sandro Tonali in that midfield as well. It's going to be a very interesting season for Newcastle. I do worry for them slightly if one of these new boys goes on, has a fantastic season like Sunderland did last year. I think they're going to massively drop off. I hope I'm wrong, because I think Newcastle are obviously a great club. Of course, they are very well supported. But it's going to be a very, very interesting season for them. I'm not overly sure what to expect from a lot of their signs as well. I think the most recent was Dedic from Benfica, who they paid, some decent money for. But I don't know what to expect. But that's, for me, the same as their counterparts. The team they're playing, Liverpool. I'm not quite sure what to expect from them. Either, to be honest. Of course, they've got Ekatike out for a long time, who was fantastic last year, had a fantastic debut season. Florian Wirtz comes into his second season. A couple of new signings on the block, of course, with Jeremy Jacquard, who obviously scored against Como in that pre-season friendly. Looks quite solid. Victor Munoz is obviously signed from CA Osasuna. So both of these teams, I think when I was sort of guiding up a league table for a bit of a prediction, both of these teams are so unsure where to put them, because there's, I think, quite a large bracket for where they could finish. I really like Liverpool's new manager. I think that's a great acquisition. I think he will do really well. But Bournemouth to Liverpool is a massively different job, massively different expectations, and be interesting to see how he deals with those expectations. So, look, Newcastle fans, cover your ears. I think Isak's going to come back, opening their season, haunt you. I've put him in my fantasy team this weekend because I think he's going to go there and score. Very, very narrow, but I think Liverpool are going to go there, opening their season, win 2-1. And as I say, I think Isak's going to, I think he's going to get one of them, unfortunately, which would be a really bad opening day for Newcastle, wouldn't it? But there you go. We are on to our last game. We've got Fulham taking on Chelsea. London derby on the Monday night kickoff. Final game. What do we say about this one? Well, Chelsea, of course, have made a plethora of signings, have no Europa football to contend with, no Conference League, no Europa League, no Champions League. They are full focus on the league this year with some excellent forward players I know Pedro Neto may still be on his way out, but they've got João Pedro, Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer. They've, of course, strengthened at the back. They've finally added some experience. People will be looking at the signs of Welbeck and Henderson. I'm sure not everyone, but a few people will be going, what the hell have they signed them for? But me personally, I think they're good signings. I think they need those signings to, build these youngsters up, give them some. I think they just have been crying out for 3 or 4 years now for some proper leadership since Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva left the club. I think they've been crying out for a Henderson and a Welbeck. And I think, with the already fantastic midfield of like Caicedo, if Lavia can stay fit, they are on for a really good season, and there is every chance that a top 4 finish under Xabi Alonso is not impossible. Going to Fulham. Fulham, I think, it's really harsh, but I think they're really going to struggle. I've obviously lost two key experienced men up top in Raul Jimenez and Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson was obviously their main threat last year. I think I did the FA Cup game at Craven Cottage last year, and Fulham looked they looked rubbish against Middlesbrough, to be honest. They looked rubbish first half. Harry Wilson came on, and suddenly they were a different beast. Arbeloa, obviously, it's coming to the Premier League it's going to be a really tough job for him, I think. Not only that, I'm not overly keen they're signing two youngsters. Obviously, Gonzalo Garcia looks like quite a good player. But as I say, he's 20. I think the other winger that signed was probably about the same age, both from Real Madrid. It's just, I really think Fulham are going to struggle this year. I really, really think Fulham are going to struggle this year. Again, hope they don't. Think they're a great club. Really like Fulham. Even as a West Ham fan, they're meant to be, London derby and all that. But no, I think Fulham are a great club. Very family orientated, and I hope they don't suffer too much. But I think it's going to be a really tough season for them. So Chelsea opening day of season, can't hype them up like that and downplay Fulham like that and then not go for a Chelsea win. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea 3-1 away win at Craven Cottage. So there you go. We've just done all 12. It's not a championship. All 10 opening day Premier League fixtures. Hope you'd enjoy. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. I'll try to put in the description all the games that are being played. But there you go. Can't wait. Football is, I know the championship back. I got to watch West Ham last weekend. Brilliant. Absolutely chuffed it's back, but it's like all football's back now. Every league across the world, it's all back now, and I just can't wait. There you go. If you'd enjoy, like, subscribe. See you in the next one.